Hi there, my name is Doug Burns, and I help businesses save time and money using low-code and no-code tools. In this video, I'm going to show one of my favorite low-code tools, and that is called Superblocks. Superblocks is primarily intended for building internal administrative tools, and one of the reasons that I really liked it is that it was super easy to learn and get up to speed so that I could start building apps very quickly. And they also have a very generous free plan for smaller businesses. You see, for free, you get up to 5 users included, unlimited number of apps, unlimited number of workflows, which are basically like web services or webhook type services you can create. And again, that's all included in a free plan. And once you move beyond 5 users, you move over to the $15 per user per month plan. Again, these are per user since they're more intended for businesses and internal type tools. I know that probably sounds like an advertisement, but it's not. I just really like using Superblocks for building tools like this. Okay, now I'm going to show what I built, but first a little background. I have an app that I've created called Caddieapp, which is a golf app for the Apple Watch and iPhone that you can use for getting distances and viewing maps when you're out on the golf course. And most of the data for that we get from OpenStreetMap. And if someone requests a course that we don't currently have in the system, we have to go and add that into OpenStreetMap, and then we pull that data into our system. So the app I'm going to show is related to that whole process. This is a golf course, and the way that it appears within OpenStreetMap, and you see we have all information about the golf course, like the holes and the fairways and the putting greens and water hazards and such, and then just all normal OpenStreetMap data like roads, and these are all different house addresses for all these different points here. So this all works really great for editing actual map data. But part of the problem for golf specifically is, in addition to the golf data, in addition to the kind of geographic data that we see here, there's also information about the golf course and the golf holes. So in golf, there's pars and handicaps, just the data numbers associated with each hole that people need to know when they're actually playing. And in OpenStreetMap, that data is stored in what are called tags on the holes. So you see when I click a hole here, I see that there's a par. This is a par 4 hole and has a handicap 4 and it's hole number 1. So that data is associated with each hole. And again, we need to capture that for each one of these holes. But in order to do that, you have to manually go and kind of follow your way around the golf course and click on one of these lines and then go over here and select the data and enter it in. It's just a very slow process, especially when you're trying to go back and forth between looking at a scorecard that actually has this information on it and entering it here. It just takes a good amount of time to, go through each one of these holes and actually add that information in. So what I built in Superblocks is an admin tool that lets us edit that data in a table. So this golf course is named Eaglevale Golf Club, I saw right there. So I'm going to switch over to the actual Superblocks tool and show how we can manage the pars and handicaps within that. So this is the tool here. You see I have a ability to search for course name up at the top. So I'm just going to type Eaglevale. And this is, I've configured Superblocks to call out to our search service that's used for the app in order to be able to pull back the information about the courses, including like the course IDs. So you see that it came up with this. The first one here is Eaglevale, Fairport, New York, 18 holes. That's the one we're looking for. I can click the ID and it'll basically open up that course and kind of highlight it in OpenStreetMap. So if I needed to be able to quickly jump to a course and make changes, I'm able to do that. But beyond that, I can also click on the row here and you see it pops up this editor. You see it's loading right now. What it's actually doing is pulling the data from OpenStreetMap. So it's pulling in all that whole data. And you see it came up and it's got all the different hole numbers there and the pars and the handicaps. So now, instead of having to click through all those lines manually like I was showing before, these are already done, but you can just click through them one at a time. So I can say if this was a 4, I just enter 4, 5. So again, you're going off of the scorecard and entering this information in. Those aren't real pars. I'm not gonna save this. But it's that quick to just go across the row on the scorecard, look at what all the pars are, and enter them in here versus having to go through that process of clicking on every one of the lines and entering it manually. Many times there's like a different par for women, so that's just another thing that takes longer when you're doing it the other way, where you can just go through them and very quickly add them here. And the same thing with handicaps, and the same thing with women's handicaps. Again, just copy them off the scorecard, very quickly enter them here, and just hit save down here, and it saves the information and pushes it to OpenStreetMap immediately. This is all standard Superblocks UI, just using their standard capabilities for making REST requests and populating these tables with them. That's one of the things that makes it so quick to work with. Another thing is that OpenStreetMap uses OAuth, and OAuth 2 specifically, for authenticating users and being able to make calls to their APIs in order to be able to change this data. And I don't know if you've ever built a OAuth API in the past, or implementation in the past, I should say. It's very time consuming just because it's bouncing back and forth between URLs and passing tokens. And it's just a kind of a time consuming process in order to be able to build that out and test it to make sure that it's working properly. But Superblocks, this is one of the areas where I was really impressed with it. Its ability to build OAuth flows is incredible. I mean, you can set them up in minutes versus literally days it would take just for that part of another app. So that's what this is using here in order to authenticate against OpenStreetMap. And the first time that you try to use this app, if you're not currently logged in, it will pop up a login screen that sends you over to OpenStreetMap to log in. It does your whole authentication, sends the token back, and then, like you're seeing here, I'm able to just read and write information from OpenStreetMap from that point forward. All this UI stuff in Superblocks is a huge time saver, but the ability to do OAuth so easily is a huge, huge, huge time saver, something that really makes it quick to be able to build apps like this. This tool probably saves 20 minutes or so every single time we edit a course. And that's mainly just because entering data and copying data from a scorecard into a table versus having to go in that map editor and click through all the lines and enter the data manually is just so much faster. So a tool like this probably would have taken a month, or at least close to a month, to build, even using frameworks in the past. But with Superblocks, we were able to build this in just a day or two, get it deployed out there, and start saving time using it. So that's just another example of how low-code and no-code tools like Superblocks can save you a ton of time and, in turn, money in your business. If there's a particular area that you think you might be able to improve, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to talk through ideas with you and help you get started.